growing up, it was pretty normal. I went to Catholic school. My parents played in the band. Well, like it had a guitar. It didn't have any drums, so I guess it wasn't a band. Yeah, it had a guitar. It didn't shred on it like Carson or anything, but he was pretty good. All my family lived together, and all my family kind of was in a central location. So when we had like Christmases and stuff, like the whole family would come over, and my grandmother used to play Old Man River on the piano, and we'd all sing it. And I don't know how that like fit into Christmas, but it did. Right? There was no real discussion about God. Like there's no family table. We would pray, but it was prayers that we memorized, and it was very much a kind of a scripted life that we live, that you live, right? When Lent came around, you gave something up, and it was this very rules-based system that you live by. So it was just something that I had to do. It was a chore. There was no connection at all. But I never prayed like I was speaking to someone, or that someone could hear me. I just prayed because I was saying the words I was told to say. My parents got divorced when I was about a junior in high school, I think. And so my dad, he came out of the closet, and he came out of the closet with like he just didn't open the door. Like he blew off the door with a bazooka, really, and there's just sawdust everywhere. And so it definitely was the fracture. So he kind of went off, and my mom kind of went off, and it was just, he didn't want to be my dad anymore. He wanted to be my friend, and he wanted me to like him and stuff. So that's probably the turning point was when they got divorced. Well, how did I meet Alicia? Well, I met her shortly after, we kind of all rolled in the after high school. Me and three pals went and got a apartment in Huntington Beach. There was a bunch of guys living there, and then she dated my brother for 3 weeks, and she broke up with him. She's like, "Oh, I'm not into this guy." But from then on, that's the brother's code. Like, you can't date your brother's ex-girlfriend ever. That's just weird, right? We were all doing drugs, and we were smoking a lot of pot and doing mushrooms and acid and all that stuff. And then we're all in Huntington Beach. And then Alicia came to move in with us, and she lived there for about 2 months, and she cleaned up the place. Really nice. But she wasn't really a big fan of what was going on there, and neither was I. Kind of decided at some point that I needed to, this world was going to come crashing down. I decided I was going to move to Arizona, and my dad lived out here, so I was going to go move and just end the party. And Alicia moved with us. So it was me, Alicia, and my brother, and we all moved out and lived with my dad in Arizona. But she would come to our family stuff, and that's when she really became like my sister. When I moved back to California, my grandmother was having some problems. And then one day, Alicia came to visit me because we were still friends, and we went to Magic Mountain. I remember looking at her in this white blouse, and I thought to myself, why don't I just marry this girl? Like, I'm dating all these other girls, and they're just not nearly as funny or as cool or as, what am I doing? And then I just said, I said, hey, so will you marry me? And she just goes, and I didn't kiss her, didn't date her, nothing. And she goes, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, seriously, let's get married. And she goes, you're crazy, and she's like, you're serious. And then the next, she was, the next night, her and her friend were on the couch, and I woke up and I said, so should I come to Arizona next weekend? And she's like, do you think we should kiss or something? I'm like, I'll come to Arizona next weekend and we'll kiss and we'll work out. And if we can make out, we're getting married. And that was it. And then I just started going to Arizona and making out. But it was fun. Like I was marrying my best friend, from the beginning. I was in anatomy class, and I was learning about something called the Krebs cycle, and I just went, there's no way that this just kind of happened, that this whole thing just happened, our bodies just did what it was supposed to do. And a lot of people say they find God when they're looking out at the Grand Canyon or they're looking up into the stars, and I'm like, I found him in an anatomy class. I came home to Alicia and I said, God's real. Like, God is for real. Like, he is absolutely real. The idea of taking, all these elements and putting them in this like prebiotic soup and stirring it up and adding time and pressure equal to a human being is crazy, right? I mean, that's crazier than thinking that there's this supreme being out there that created me. And so if he could do that and he can create all this stuff, then what else could he do, right? And then what could he do for me? And it just led down the path. We started going to a church, but I just didn't feel connected there. Like, we didn't connect there. We did the, everything's fine. Like, everything's great. Like, we were not authentic in the slightest. And we came to New Valley. We made a conscious decision to say, we're going to be ourselves and we're not going to be afraid of people because, I know Christians can be weird, but we're not going to be weird. We're going to be totally ourselves. And if people think we're freaks, then they'll tell us to leave, and no one did. Like, everyone was just as weird as we were. I used to have 4 or 5 people that I could call on my phone and really count on and say, like, they'll drop everything. And that was mainly family and some old friends. But like, I have a Rolodex of people that I feel with all my heart that I could pick up the phone, call them, and they would drop whatever they're doing and be there for me. And I would do it for them. The gospel's message is that, I know that someone is there for me and someone died for me, and that there's this eternity waiting for me. And it's not just something that's in some type of fantasy book or in like a story, or it's just pictures of this guy with a beard. Like, it's real. Like, it's actual. It's gonna happen. You want me to rip it out? I'll go get a hacksaw right now and I'll cut it down. What are we cutting? This one?
I think this one, right?
Yeah.
Can we get some glue?
I think that I fixed the problem. Who knew these trees were so fragile?